The modern thesis of communism bears much similarity with the line of Vedic determination of truth at the core of religions. In spite of such affinity with one another, why then has their theory not been able to make headway? That may be the question. I think the reason lies in the over-jealous way of renouncing everything relating to God and religion by those who pose as communists. The Vedic line of thought in this regard is that you need not declare your mind about the existence of God or God's non-existence. You consider, verify, and take guidance from what you see and observe in concrete shape, and then take your own decisions after scientific analysis. Follow the line working behind nature's proliferation. You are to see, analyze, and decide what should be done or not. It would be unwise to enter into disputes with others who differ with you in theory and practice. You formulate your own line of activities after scientific analysis of the situation and variables that you experience all around you. That is the genuine Vedic system of determination of man's duties and obligations. I have traveled widely. I have met with people of different classes and creeds, castes and faiths. I treat them on equal terms, without any discrimination. In response to their sincerity and earnestness, I conducted acts of benediction and initiation for each, irrespective of their natural differences. On this issue, the Vedas proclaim that basically all are required in this living world. There is only one and single identity of all created beings in any form of nature. Therefore, it becomes clear that all communities, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, and such others, basically enjoy the same heritage, the same color of blood flowing in the veins of all. Their identity differ only by their nature of vocation. That is the principle underlying the caste system of Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. These categories were suited to their respective lines of vocation and activity for their own survival and the common welfare of the society. The divisions were made according to the job responsibility of each category, but were not placed under distinct classes in the community. This was introduced later on to serve the purpose of satisfying certain self-interested groups. In the Vedic age, no such manipulation was admissible, so the question of any harm from the caste system did not arise. In the army, you will find battalion formation is made in different nomenclature according to the action for which they are formed. For instance, the charioteers, the horse riders, the elephant riders, and the ground soldiers. Such divisions were made as a part of organizational strategy. The objective is common for the different frontline battles in the army. All of them have dedicated themselves to the same noble cause. So, there will be little scope of distinction and differentiation among these formations. In the same way, during the days of the holy Vedas, Brahmins would be the preceptors for upholding the moral and ethical interests. The Kshatriyas were assigned the task of maintaining safety and security of the land against outside aggression. And the other two groups, namely the Vaishya and the Sudra, used to bear the burden of productivity, trade, commerce, etc., as well as physical labor and manual service, for the benefit of society at large. The same principle of identification of separate groups in the society, signifying the specific line of service by each, was applied in the case of distinctive features. The intellectuals and elites were to be the brain, always engaged in higher thoughts and deliberations for the welfare of the common man. The Kshatriyas were identified as the chest of man, signifying valor and physical prowess. The other two groups, namely the Vaishyas and Sudras, would be the legs and feet of the limb, signifying stability, just as pillars supporting the upper structure and the convenience of healthy mobility and movement. The difference only was in their names, but the objective purpose was common for all: service to the people. The limbs and organs of one's physical body may be different in size and form, and their service may also be different in the natural course, but no single part can be done away with whimsically. The Vedic scholars, in their wisdom, assigned specific tasks and duties to the different groups operating as useful agencies, separate outwardly but sustained by a common thread. Unfortunately, the focus is on exclusiveness and differentiation among the social groups in modern society. Due to such painful developments, a lot of evil elements are raising their ugly heads through disputes and dissensions, ignoring the track of harmony and tolerance. The social attitude has suffered too much of degradation, so the Brahmins cannot be touched on account of their holy highness. The Sudras too cannot be touched physically for fear of the threat of untouchability and impurity. The country is going to dogs as a result. That is deplorable. I have come to preach the solemn lessons of amicability, irrespective of whether the devotees or visitors are Hindus or Muslims by religion. Neither any preference for the Brahmins or denigration of the Sudras. Man is man. All are equal in my estimate. The energy and light of the sun defy all distinction of beneficiaries. The same is with the vast space of the sky, the wind and the air. No differentiation and no reservation, ensuring free and equal share for all. In my consideration, religion is universal and eternal. Numerous faiths and cults are prevalent for religious pursuits. Some are clothed half naked, some are well dressed, some people rub holy ashes on the body, while others may be using scents and sandal. What is there for me to be concerned about? Many such differences are observed at different areas, and there are varied forms of rituals performed as the part of religious performance. Wherever you try to intervene, there will be dispute, quarrel, and protest. So it is advisable that you proceed in your own way, after a thorough analysis or purview of the end object of your pursuit, and maintain happy relations with others, following diverse codes and faiths. There should not be lack of intimacy between the followers of different faiths. Look at the way people of different tastes and choice behave while sitting in a friendly gathering. Some may be addicted to this or that. Again, there may be others with clean and good habits of refreshment, but there won't be any unnecessary furor over such personal ways of food and drink. So my suggestion is that you need not hurt others' faith, or by way of performance. Rather, it will be well if you adhere to your own concept and conviction. You are to proceed on the way cleared by your own reasoning and judgment. I always make adjustments with the varying faiths and cultures. Even with the Muslims, I don't feel inhibition in many of their religious norms and practices. After observing their Roja fasting, without bothering any question or debate over the relevance of the penance, my voluntary participation in their firm faith in the particular penance will create goodwill and sympathetic bond of feeling between us, although we belong to separate lines of religious faith. I visited mosques and churches too, without any prejudice. Rather, at many places they accepted my reasoning and interpretation. In this way, a large number of Muslims and Buddhists turned to be my devotees. Had I made any distinction between those different religious faiths and creeds, no one would have veered around me or come close to me. That has been the fate for the communists here. They entered into disputes from the very start. They have not tasted any success in their field of work, in spite of good labor and sincere effort. Association of a fraction of the community will not be enough for the success of your ideal. The proposed new order will become sustainable only when the people, one and all in the land, converge into a common faith and understanding. In spite of the fact that you mentally and ideologically differ from others in matters of religious faith, you should offer your best to them while accepting some of their external symbolic features. You should be careful and avoid unnecessary disputes over external signs and symbols. We should always try to make analytical assessment and then decide the way to proceed and accept the formulations that appear before us in the normal course. That may appear as Allah, or the Hindu gods, or the Christian God, or in any other form. We should always be positively receptive and not be negative in our response. It is unwise to make any adverse comment before we have the correct concept of the matter, because that will create further discrimination and conflict of interest in the society. Once I have been to Assam, I then sensed the feeling of dissension between the two nationalities, Bengali and Assamese, and told them blatantly that I felt ashamed at their mutual bickering, and I hated this nonsense. Coming here, I don't feel I am in an unknown place. I came straight to Assam without any hindrance, and coming here, I don't feel any difference, whether I am in Bengal or in Assam. This is because such demarcation of boundaries are man-made and artificial to show certain typical interest of certain groups claiming separate identity, language, habits and culture. Nature is always in favor of uniformity instead of artificiality. The differentiation of caste and creed, Brahmin and non-Brahmin, Hindus and Muslims, all these artificial divisions of human society are man-made and against the system of nature. All of them have inherited the God-gifted facilities endowed by the sun, the open sky, the soil of the earth. Then there is no reason for the people to indulge in factitious animosity and acrimony, and at times harmful skirmishes. This is totally undesirable, as this is neither pleasant nor nice. It is a pity that people have not taken to their heart the proper message of the Vedas. The situation has been further aggravated because of the deliberate perversion of the Gospels of the Vedas by some wicked groups. So your duty should be to carry the true message of the Vedas directly to the people in their own habitats.